Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me and can everyone see my screen this morning? Good morning. Okay, we do have a couple of market reports today. We actually have the unemployment claims at 8:30 this morning. We have flash manufacturing PMI at 9:45. Now that's an orange report, so it should not be a high volatility report, whereas unemployment is. And then we have a 10 o'clock Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. Yes, I am recording it. I had some trouble uploading the recording from yesterday, so I'll try it again later today. So, all right. Everybody sees my scanner window, correct? And the first thing that would actually stand out at me is we have a magenta peak over on the 45-minute chart on the gold, and we are 58 ticks away from the ATR. On crude, the 45-minute chart is oversold, and the NASDAQ is trending up the 3 minutes, 2 ticks away from the ATR. Nothing special about that one. And the Dow, the S&P 500, the DAX, the only thing to note on the DAX is magenta peak in the background. And really that's the only thing I see of interest over here. Now over on the currencies, you can see that the currency meter, it was almost a perfect setup on the currency meter. Okay. On which market did the magenta peak just come in? Which market are you referring to, Jim? On gold, it actually came in this morning during the London session. Actually on the 45-minute chart, came in about 4:30 this morning actually. And we're going to get to gold. I want to show you some stuff on gold later. Over on the currency meter, do you see how the dollar is going down and all of the other currencies are going up? It's actually because there were magenta peaks on all of the major currencies, okay? And all of the major currencies also retraced. So let me put this over here for a moment. So if you're looking at the Aussie, you see that we did get a magenta peak here, retraced back to the ATR, actually went up to a congestion dot. Over on the Euro US dollar, you see that we had a magenta peak come in, it retraced back to the ATR. I do think the euro is going to go up today, but that's just my opinion right now. On the British pound US dollar, you see we got the magenta peak in, retraced back to the ATR. Okay, on the New Zealand US dollar, which I didn't even check this morning, let's see what happened. Again, back to the ATR. The USD Swiss franc, back to the ATR. USD JPY, again, down to the ATR. All of these happened because the dollar was overbought. Do y'all see that? And it was really just, I've never ever seen the currency meter in harmony like this before. Never. Now, some of these you couldn't have traded because it was only like 20 ticks back to the ATR. that would have been a great binary trade to take, because it wasn't going to be enough on the spot side to give you a profit target. It would not be enough on the future side to give you a decent profit target, but on the binaries you could have taken those. Does everybody understand that? And I mean, that was, 6 out of 6. That's pretty good, guys. All right, let me change the screen. Yeah, you could do out of the money strikes, Dave, especially on the yen trades. The yen has a width of 5 pips. Okay, so easily you could have done that one. It started during Asia last night, Jim. No. Eastern time, it is 8 p.m. Eastern time. All right, let me change my screen. I have to remember which one it is. Now, on gold this morning, we have a very unique situation in that the 1440 is moving down, okay? But you're overextended on the 720 and you're overextended on the 180. Earlier this morning, you were even overextended on the 45-minute. So, my belief is that gold is going to go up off of the unemployment report. Does everyone understand that? Dan, you're asking, do you spread trades across currencies in a case like that, or just pick the best mover and trade it more heavily? I would trade all of them. That's me, okay? Because you had the dollar so overextended, and every one of them had magenta peaks coming in, Dan. Do you understand that? Now, would a new trader want to do that? No, but I've been trading currencies for 15 years. Okay? I'm quite comfortable doing that. Would I do it because I've had a year of experience? Probably not. All right. Now, my belief is that gold is going to go up, right? Because we're overextended on the 720 and we're overextended on the 180-minute chart. Okay, heads up, because this is new, guys. Pay attention. I've already entered binaries, and this is in the simulator for your benefit, okay? I've already entered a gold binary that expires tomorrow at 1:30, just in case I don't get it today. And I've entered one that expires today at 1:30 p.m. Again, this is in the simulator. I don't show my live account in the room. Okay? Now, we have on this one, I entered this when it was at 43.50. This one is out of the money because I entered at 35. Okay? My belief is what? That it will go up. So I've got one at 1283.5, one at 1284 even. Okay? Now, the one thing that you want to make sure of, because we have a market report in 20 minutes, is that you put in a profit target, especially on the one that is closest. Okay? So in this case, I'm going to sell this one if it hits 95 because I am long in both of these positions. Everybody understand that? So I'm going to place that order, and then I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the weekly. The weekly moves much slower because it is a weekly. So if we do get the volatility that I anticipate off of an unemployment report, more than likely I could potentially get filled on the 1:30 p.m. today. Does everyone understand that? Yes, but I'm not through yet. All right. I also did a very easy spreadsheet that tells me my long entry price was 35. I have another one at 43.5. Now, I calculated my maximum risk at 50% of what I went in at. Does everybody understand that? So this one, initially I had $35 of risk, but if it goes to 17.5 per contract, I will exit. Well, I'm trading 5 contracts. So if it gets to 87.5, I am out of that position. Does everybody understand? All right. Now, if I'm willing to risk 50% of this as my stop, then I want to take, if I make 50% on the risk, then I want to take half of my position off. That equals $52.50 per contract, or $262.50. Everybody understand that one? That's my first profit target. Okay? So, if my profit gets to $262.50, then I will take 3 contracts off, which is half of the position, because, well, actually half is 2.5, but you round up, so it's 3. And then if it goes back to break even, I will exit the position. If it goes deep in the money, I'm going to ride it out. Everybody understand that now? Just one contract. If you hit the 50%, take it out. But with the binaries as cheap as they are, Jim, you should be able to trade at least 2 contracts. Now, additionally, remember, because we do have that market report at 9:30, I do have that $95 target price in there. So if it pops up and hits $95, I'm a happy camper. Does everybody understand that? Any questions on that? And we'll come back and watch this at the 8:30 market report. But meanwhile, let's go and look at the other markets. Gold, I do think it's going to pop up. The question is whether it actually comes in with the magenta peak here, which means it would have to flip the ATR over on the 12-minute chart. What could potentially do that? Okay. What potentially could do that would be a major market report. No, it was not at the money, Chris. At the money was 12.80 when I entered that. One strike price against that is what I took. I do have a book that will be coming out on the binaries probably in the next couple of weeks. I've someone's doing the editing for me right now, so I'll let y'all know when it's available. All right, let's go and look at crude. We are getting a magenta peak on crude, as you see. These are the zones, okay? And do you see how it probed under this lower zone here? Then it came back and it's found support at this zone. Well, there's really nothing in the way, and you can visually see that. There's really nothing in the way until it gets either to this ATR or to this zone. Okay? That's what you call a sweet spot. How would you have traded that? Here is your entry. Do y'all see that? Flip the ATR, came back and touched the ATR. There's your entry. And that was actually above zero on the delta as well. Now, if you want to see a good Buddha trade, this is a good Buddha trade. Understand? Any questions on that? It flipped the ATR, came back and tested the ATR. It did it on diverging volume, okay? And now it's going up. There is absolutely nothing in the way until it gets to this ATR or this zone. That's sweet spot. This is when you use the zones, guys. That's what I'm trying to point out. Do you see the black space here? That's pretty, okay? It's just gorgeous because, number one, you're overextended. When we started the room at 8 o'clock, I said we're going to get a magenta peak, did I not? Okay? We got the magenta peak, comes back to test the ATR, and now it's moving up. Do you see the black space? Notice that. Take note of it. If you're capturing your screenshots, this is something that you would notice. Okay? Why would you notice it? Because it is black space. There's nothing in the way of a good trade. Yeah, I got a lot of black space through my ears, too. Does everybody understand that? When we're talking about sweet spots, these are sweet spots. These are the ones that you want. Okay? All right, let's go look at the NASDAQ. Okay? The NASDAQ, you got overhead resistance, and then you have nothing above you. Okay? That's because we're making new highs right now on the NASDAQ. Okay? Now, one thing to note, you have an ADX over here on the 1440 that is at 64. It's not overbought. It may be overbought tomorrow, but it's not today. And then you have magenta down here. If we get a magenta peak, then we would expect a downward movement on both of these charts. Okay? Will we get the magenta peak? Well, we will get it because we're seeing divergence on the ADX on the 180. Okay? And what that means is as price is making new highs, the ADX is not following it. Okay? Do y'all understand that? All right, now let's go to the Dow. Again, you're making new highs in the Dows. You're making new highs on the 720 as well as the 1440. And you are oversold on the 180. Okay? This is the one that matters to me because it's closer to me and we are overbought. Do y'all understand that? Yes, no, maybe. Okay. So my anticipation is we could get a magenta peak could be in the operative word there. Do you see any signs of the magenta peak? Well, we do have some divergence, okay? When you look down to the 45-minute, you can see that right now it's right in between these zones, okay? So could that offer resistance for price to come down? Yes, it could, okay? I'm not seeing it yet, okay? And be very cautious, because if it does not offer resistance here, then you've got a lot of black space here, which means there's nothing in the way of it coming to this line. Do y'all understand that? Now, are you seeing any type of downward movement on the 12 or the 3? No, you are not. Okay? So right now, be aware that you are in an overbought situation on the 180. That does not mean go short, because right now there is no indication other than volume divergence that it will go down. Do y'all understand that one? All right, let's go look at the S&P 500. All right, we're in an uptrend on the 1440. Not really overextended. We're only at about 52 here. No magenta potential on the 720. When we come up to the 180-minute chart, this is where you are getting to the point of being overbought, okay? When you look at the volume, you can see that the volume is decreasing on the highs, okay? So again, we could get a magenta peak. Do you see any signs of that going on at the moment? No. Do you have divergence? Yes, you do, okay? But you haven't flipped this ATR. Even though it approached it on increasing volume, you have not flipped it. You're not in a downtrend here. So unless you get that magenta peak, do not be trying to take a short. It needs to come in first. Yeah, it's just on the 45-minute. Sherry, is where I put the zones. You know, because it does give you a good overview of where all the zones are. That's all. Yeah, there's a double zone here that may support price right now on the S&P 500. But again, you know, and this is where you will get into trouble trying to call these tops and bottoms, okay? Because we're overextended here, we forget this is a 3-hour chart, okay? This being a 3-hour chart, it could take a couple of days for this magenta peak to come in. Everybody understand that one? It's with the upgrade for annual membership, Sherry. I sell the zones indicators separately, but you're much better off getting the upgrade, to be honest with you. And upgrade, I mean annual membership, because that way you get access to all the webinars and indicators, period. Okay, let's go look at the DAX. Okay, at the DAX, we're coming up to a congestion dot at 94.98.6. We also have a congestion dot over on the 720. Neither one of these are showing a strong uptrend at the moment. We have managed to flip this ATR that is on the 180. I wouldn't consider that a strong flip of the ATR. If anything, I just think it was a congestion zone and it went up from there. The thing that I see on the DAX is you have a lot of black space, okay? Meaning there's nothing in the way of this trade going up. Do y'all see that? Yes, these are the intraday zones. These are my favorites. Okay, so if it comes back and it tests this area, okay, and it finds support, then I would anticipate it going up to this area of resistance. Does everybody understand that? All right, let's go look at the Russell. On the Russell, you do have a congestion dot here. You're not in a strong uptrend. You are moving up. It's not a strong uptrend. You're at the congestion dot on the Russell, which is at 1150.6. This is the congestion dot that I told y'all to watch out for yesterday. Now, do you see why I told you to watch out for it yesterday? Out in the middle of nowhere. That's why it stops price. But it did coincide with an area on these zones here. And when you see that, normally it does act as support. Do y'all understand that? And that's what held price up yesterday. Okay? Something as simple as a congestion dot that coincided with a couple of zones. Now, what I would be looking for on the Russell, I would actually think that it would come up to this zone. The only thing that could stop it would be this little congestion dot here. Okay? So that's something I would definitely be aware of this morning as the market opened. Okay? Just like the congestion dot stopped it yesterday, it could also stop it on the 45-minute today. All right, before we go over and we watch gold, I think Jim said gold's going down. I wanted to show you on the euro. This is why I think the euro will go up, okay? Do you see how it flipped the ATR and it's come back, and there's almost a confluence right here on the ATR in the zone? Okay, now this is not going to end until 9 o'clock this morning, but if this area holds, what do you have between here and here? Black space. The only thing that could potentially get in the way of this trade would be this ATR, which is at 32.90, which is about here. Do y'all see that? These are the trades that I pay attention to. Again, why do I pay attention to them? Because there's nothing in the way of a good trade. Understand? All right, let's go look at the British pound. The British pound, what has it got to do? Okay, it's got to come back and it's got to test this ATR. It's got to find support at that ATR in order to continue up. Now, if it does, you've got a zone here and a zone here, okay? So what will happen, it will go through these zones, it will come back and test for support, and then it will go up. Does everybody understand that? If that happens, then you've got your sweet spot is between here and here. Go look at the Swiss franc. What's going on the Swiss franc? A sweet spot between 109.45 and this top number here. Can you enter that right now? No, because that bar does not end until 9 o'clock. Do y'all understand that? And we're getting these on a lot of the currencies right now. That's the reason I'm pointing them out to you. Now, if you look at the Aussie dollar, is this one I would trade? No. Why would I not want to trade this one? There's a lot of stuff in the way of a good trade. It's very messy, that's right. Normally, Chris, you're looking at a 45. You could look to see if the ATR prevents it from going up. Normally, the 45 minutes is going to rule. All right, what about the yen? Now, this is one I think, Dan, you asked me about earlier. This, I would filter that trade out, okay, because it's not pretty. There's a lot of stuff in the way of a good trade. Okay, on this one, okay, you need to flip this ATR and it's got to come back and test the ATR. If it does that on diverging volume, then you will have a sweet spot, but not until then. Just because there's black space here does not mean you go long. Do y'all see that? So all I want to do is say, okay, I want it to flip this ATR, and then I want it to come back and test the ATR. The ATR, if it comes back to test it, will probably coincide with this zone here. Okay? It will coincide with this zone. It'll go up, flip it, and then come right back and test it. That's what we talked about yesterday. Don't take the first breakout. Wait, because it will test for support. Okay, on the Canadian, we normally don't look at the Canadian, but this is exactly what I was talking about. Flips the ATR, comes back to test it. Do you see how the buyers controlled these bars? Even though it made lows, it was controlled by the buyers. Then it broke through these and went up to this one. Now, is this a real sweet spot? No, because you had these, it's 1, 2, 3 zones in between there, okay? That was not a sweet spot until it got here. When it got to this line, I knew then it would go up to here. Does everybody understand that? Now, that's a smaller sweet spot. I like the ones that have a lot of black because it's a lot of sweet. And I love sweets. All right, let's go and look at New Zealand. And this is the New Zealand dollar. Again, it's flipped the ATR. It's come back to test the ATR, being controlled by the buyers. Is there a sweet spot there? Not really. Okay, this is another one. Yeah, it's probably going to go up, but would I choose this one over, for example, the euro? No, I'd choose the euro. Do y'all see that? Which one looks better to y'all? The New Zealand or the euro? To me, the euro looks better, doesn't it? It's a big, big difference. Okay? And that's why I'm pointing it out today with the zones. There's a huge difference when you have a zone down here at 3260 and the next zone is up here probably around 3310, 3320. Yeah, the buyers are increasing. You can see that. Totally controlled by buyers at the moment. Now, trading this on the future side, I would let it come back and test the ATR in the 3-minute, okay? And then trade it, okay? Trading on the binary side, you could take a binary somewhere around 32.60, or you could even go out of the money on this one at 32.80, okay? That would be one strike price out from where price is. Everybody understand that? That is absolutely correct, Dave. The 45-minute euro, if it completes the retracement back to the ATR, while the 180 should trade up to the ATR at 32.90. And if that happens, the magenta peak will come in on the 720, where the ATR is higher at 32.80. These are intraday zones, okay? I don't really use the dailies or the weeklies unless I'm longer term trading gig. And I'm trading so many binaries, normally I don't even go out that far anymore. Does that answer your question, Gig? All right, let's go back and let's look at what gold's doing. Gold's not doing what we anticipate it to do. Oh, that's not gold. No wonder I was confused. Okay, gold is not doing what we anticipated it to do. In other words, it's coming down and it's testing this low right here. Okay? As it stands right now on the binary at 1284, there's a loss of $130. So you can just exit that position. Why? Because it didn't do what you anticipated it to do. Does everybody understand that? Give me just a minute. I'm trying to get the screens open so I can show you. And now I can pull it down. Now, no, you didn't lose sound. I was trying to pull these screens down. All right, here's your goal position. This is the one that expires at 1:30 today. You see it's got 4 hours and 50 minutes, right? You're going to click on this, and you're going to place the order, and it's going to take you out of the position, right? You better come down here, and you better cancel this order as well. And I've done this before. This is why I'm showing y'all. And you say delete remainder. If you do not do that, you will get back into the market, and it will be a negative trade. In that case, you're going to pay $95 for that trade per contract. And I've done it before. That's the reason I wanted to point it out to y'all. because I don't have my working orders up all the time. I have my open positions up all of the time. Do y'all understand that? Actually did that a couple of times. I learned real quick. Don't do that again. Now, we still have the weekly position on as it stands right now, okay? We still have the price at 95 for that weekly position. And do you see how this magenta peak's coming in, the magenta peak over here, okay? All right. Now, this is one where you could have waited and exited that position as it pulled back to this ATR, because that would have been more in line with your risk. Do y'all understand that? Because on that particular trade, we should have taken a maximum loss of 87.5, right? Well, as this is coming back, we probably could have got that because the ADX said it's coming back to the ATR. Do y'all understand that portion of it? Now, it will take discipline to say, it did not do what I wanted, I need to exit, okay? You're overextended on both the 720 and the 180, and because I wanted to show you what to do on that one, Chris, that was the basis of it. We had an 8:30 market report that very well could have caused both of these magenta peaks to come in. And really, we didn't have much of a reaction from the market report, to be honest with you. Now, normally I don't do those at 6 o'clock in the morning. Normally I do them right before the market report comes out. On gold, December. And that's the other neat thing about Nadex. You never have to ask that question again, Bonnie, because right here it tells you the gold December contract. Yes, it was a loss. I think it was 130, Ed, for 5 contracts. Now I'm showing the gold December contract Z14. Z14 is December. But, for example, I knew yesterday we were on October crude. And I knew that because when I bought crude up, it looked real funny on the window. So I knew that I was on the wrong contract over here. Instead of looking like this, it just had dashes all over it, so I knew they had changed the contract on crude. And when you went into, instead of looking up to make sure it was a new contract, all I did was come over here to Nadex and say, okay, on Nadex, what contract are they trading? They're trading October. I need to be on October. Yeah, I have no idea why it would do that, Bonnie. It's at 1278.9 at the moment. 1278.0. So a lot of these numbers, okay, will depend on your broker and the session template, okay? Now in this case, I hope I'm using the CME Globex, but we'll check and see. We're using CME FX Futures Globex, okay? Now the difference is this is going to end and begin at different times, okay? Yeah, TradeStation has a continuous contract. Nadex was trading the previous contract. What do you mean? Nadex is always going to be on the current contract. No, it's right here is the price. You don't want to move until Nadex moves. I think your screen might be frozen, Bonnie, because the price highlighted is 1277.8. And Nadex actually pops up and gives you notice, believe it or not, when the contract... Can everyone hear me? Okay. It wasn't registered, and I unplugged my microphone with my foot somehow. Yes, in NinjaTrader you can use CME FX Futures ETH. Yeah, I don't know how I managed to do that, except I got a new microphone with a very long cord and it got locked around my foot for some reason. Not really sure why, but it did. Dan, you were mentioning the indicative index and Nadex. I don't really use that either, other than, okay, I do look at it as far as, you know, where price is at the expiration. Is gold set up for a trend trade? No, I wouldn't take it because of the 12-minute right now. You're right at the point of getting this 12-minute magenta peak in, which is going to push it up, Jim. No, I wouldn't take that. This is what the scanner looks like when the currency meter looks like this. Dollar's going down, all the currencies going up. That tells me we're having an update on currencies when compared to the US dollar. I thought that's what it was. Sometimes your screen will freeze. Yeah, it is. This, when you see the meter like this on currencies, the first thing you should say is, ooh, there's going to be some trades in currencies today. Okay? Then, if and this was the case this morning, we did have magenta peaks coming in, okay, and it was lighting up the scanner window really pretty. And it was just magenta peak, magenta peak, magenta. You could see them coming in on all the currencies, but there wasn't enough ticks to the ATR to take advantage of it in the futures or in the spot. And that's an excellent time to say, okay, I'm going to go into the binaries. In that case, I'm going in at the money, or like in the case of the Euro 45, you'll go slightly out of the money, one strike price out. Oh, didn't think you could get anything on the bull spread. $29.60. Nope. Alright, bull spreads are out. It's too far. The Euro USD, 11 o'clock tonight. What could we get ourselves into? And this is what I'm looking at in. Let me get this a little bit shrunk down here. All right, now, we believe that this is going to go up, right? I want to look at the strike price that is around $32.80. And that one would cost you $31.50. Okay, so in this case, let's just keep it nice and simple. 5 contracts. You're looking at $157.50 as risk, maximum profit of $342.50, and it has until 11 o'clock tonight to do it, okay? So I'm going to place this order. Again, this is simulated. This is not my live account, okay? I'm going to shrink that up. All right, what's the next thing I need to do? Okay? Well, the next thing that I need to do is say, on this one, ooh, it hasn't got in yet. Oh, come on, get me in. Delete remainder. Let's try this again. Okay. Okay, we're going in at 33. This time we got filled because we're in the market, okay? The next thing I want to do is come over here and add 33, and we did 5 contracts. Okay, so if this goes to around 82.50 on a loss, I'm out. If it goes to 247.5, then I'm going to take off 3 contracts. Understand? Now, if the goal gets to 108.75 and I'm watching it, I will come out at that number. Now, what else would I want to do at this point? Because we have a 10 o'clock market report this morning, don't we? I will do the same thing that I did before, and that is to put in an order ticket that says, okay, if it pops up and hits 95, I'm out of all the contracts. Does everybody understand that now? Okay, that got to the 108.75. You exit. What do you have to do once you exit? You have to close that. And you better delete it because otherwise you will be in the market. Understand? Any questions? And if you do not have those working orders up, you will forget about them. Take it from me, I know. I've done it. All right, any other questions this morning, guys? I do want to go so I can trade the opening session. All right, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. We will be back next week on Tuesday. And I'll try to get the videos posted today. I can't guarantee it, but I'm going to try. Okay? All right. Everyone have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week.